13 Forward is a legislative coalition of advocates that is working toward the passage of two bills, the No Slavery in New York Act and the Fairness and Opportunity for Incarcerated Workers Act. Here to tell us more is campaign leader Wilfredo Laracuente. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, let's tell a little about you. Who are you? How'd you get involved in the organization? What makes you a spokesperson? Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, I'm a former incarcerated leader who just returned home about 22 months ago after a 20-year prison stint from Sing Sing Correctional Facility. So I have worked in coalcraft, and I'm passionate about this particular work because slavery still exists in New York State. It's a loophole that is being utilized by the Department of Corrections in concert with Coalcraft Industries. And the 13th Forward provided me an opportunity to work on this particular loophole and to be able to close it and garner movement with government officials in order to do what we need to do, just like just like Alabama and other states, we're closing the loophole for the 13th Amendment.
When you were incarcerated and you noticed the jobs that you were required to do and not getting paid very much, if anything, for them, was that what got you thinking this is something you want to change? Did you notice this when you were in there? Like, tell me what your feelings were while you were incarcerated and you saw this happening. Was it anger? Was it fear? Was it something else?
Well, it's just being emasculated by the system.
Okay.
So I kind of felt like I see people in real time in the world and they're getting adequate wages for what they do. And the type of work we did and getting up, 8 to 12 hours a day, getting paid anywhere from 15 cents to 45 cents, I just felt a sense of wrong. And I felt that was something that I wanted to work on once I was released and I was granted parole, and that's why I'm here today.
Did you complain about these things while you were incarcerated? Were you able to put anything in writing or something to help change the situation that was going on?
The Department of Corrections frowns upon speaking upon these particular things while you're a ward of the state. So you either have to conform to what's going on with the mandated job assignment, or what they will do is they'll give you disciplinary actions, and then you'll be sequestered and suppressed. So they don't want that type of rumblings, as they say, to go with the job. So, you will be placed in solitary confinement,
Really?
You will be moved to another facility, and they will be very quick to squash that type of mutiny, as they look at it as.
Were there jobs that were better than other jobs when you were incarcerated in terms of financially, maybe paid a little bit more, or was it always the same amount of money no matter what type of job you were doing?
Well, when it comes to Coalcraft Industries, or it comes to...
And by the way, just so the viewers know, who's Coalcraft Industries?
Coalcraft Industry is a company that creates products that, and they sell them to the city agencies and the non-for-profit agencies like the Department of Education, the courts. And what they do is they able to sell it whatever amount they want, because their ROI, or their return on investment, they don't have to worry about cost. They don't have to really worry about labor, because the labor is coming fairly cheap, from 15 cents an hour to 45 cents an hour.
Okay, let's talk about these bills, all right?
Okay.
Let's talk about the first one. Why do we equate this with a form of slavery?
Okay, it's equated with a form of slavery because in America, you're able to be compensated with some type of standard. So they have a state minimum wage, they have a federal minimum wage. What DOCS and also in concert with Coalcraft has done is they have not had a system of checks and balances in place to go ahead and adequately compensate the men and women that are currently incarcerated by the Department of Corrections. So this particular bill, what it does is it closes the loophole so there can be no sanctions if you choose not to work. And then it closes the loophole of this particular form of slavery. And then the second bill, what it will do right behind it is be able to now work on adequate wages, work on possibly unionizing, work on having subcommittees in order to provide adequate wages and kind of police and hold the Department of Corrections, along with Coalcraft, with the ability now to adequately compensate the people that are housed by the Department of Corrections.
So what if you decided, I don't want to do this job, whatever particular job you're assigned to anywhere in the prison, what would you do instead? You just you don't have to work? Like, what
Yeah,
would you do?
you wouldn't have to work, but what you can do is participate in voluntary programs to work on your rehabilitative process.
Okay.
So what happens is sometimes if people don't want to work, because there are people that don't want to be involved with the natural order and operations of the facility that is governed by docs, but we as a people housed there, we're the ones that run the facilities. We're the ones that prepare the meals. We're the ones that overall take the upkeep and the maintenance of the facilities. So if you choose not to do that, you can participate in therapeutic programming. You can participate in higher education. There are other places you can do other things you can do in order to work on those rehabilitative processes.
And in terms of compensation being paid, what type of money are we talking about?
Well, for me, that is something that is on the table, but I think the federal minimum wage of $7.25 would be adequate. That's not something that we're discussing or we would like to see happen. But there are other constituents that I have that want to see $15 an hour. But my thing about it is I want to be able to give the viewers and everyone to understand that there needs to be some form of economic stimulus package that needs to be given to the men and women that are housed in the Department of Corrections, because right now 15 cents to 45 cents an hour is not cutting it, and they need to have a raise.
Do you have the support in New York?
We have substantial support. Actually, the first part of the bill to close the loophole is being heard by the Judiciary Committee today, and it looks like it'll be passing. Hopefully, we have a lot of push. And we have even bipartisan support of the bill as it's going to the Senate. So it's something that I'm very excited about. I remember when this movement, when I first came out, we needed a lot of push, and we have done a lot of the work. We have put in the groundwork on the floor with the boots running, and I'm very comfortable and confident that this will be passed.
Where are you getting pushback from? Who's giving you a hard time on this type of legislation?
It's funny you say that. I don't want to say that we're receiving pushback.
Okay.
What I want to say is that when we're talking about slavery or closing the loophole, no government official wants to be on the wrong side of that. So my thing about it is that as it starts to garner more and more steam and more people's support, you just don't want to be that form of a minority that is opposed to it, because what it does is it may affect your potential reelection. So I feel sometimes that everybody just waiting for everyone to join in, and then after that they'll go ahead and they'll have it passed.
What are your thoughts? So you think it's going to happen?
I'm very confident. I'm very confident. I'm looking at it now compared to what it was when I first came home 21 months ago when I became part of the steering committee, and I feel very confident that this is going to get passed, and then we'll work on the second bill and getting a hammered down and locked in a specific wage increase for the men and women that are housed by the Department of Corrections. And that's something that I'm looking forward to in this journey.
How do people reach you if they want to, help out?
You can log on to our Instagram page, the 13forward.ny, or more importantly, what I would like is for you to reach out to your government officials and be able to let them know that this is something that they should support, and this is something that needs to continue and have the conversation, because by having this conversation, this is where we are today.
All right, Wilfredo, thanks for coming. You really enlightened us on the issue, and we'd love you to come back to discuss it again.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank our guests for joining us, and of course you, the viewers, for watching. If you missed any part of today's show, be sure to check it out at bronxnet.tv. And always remember, if there's a legal issue or topic you'd like to see on a future edition of Today's Verdict, feel free to contact me at davidlesch@bronxnet.org or tweet me at davidlesch, and make sure to hashtag Ask Today's Verdict. From myself and all of us at Today's Verdict, always remember, know your rights, know your issues, reach a verdict. I'm David Lesch, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks with an all-new episode of Today's Verdict right here on BronxNet. Take care.